Okay, we have a bunch of fantasy adaptations coming down the road, fantasy and sci-fi, and I did a better job this time trying to find all of them. So here is every fantasy/sci-fi adaptation coming down the road as presented to you by no sponsor. I can't get sponsors, I'm not that big yet. But as we go ahead and jump on into this, I want you guys to keep in mind that my own personal opinions are going to be how I'm viewing these. If you're excited for one and I'm not particularly excited for that, don't let me taint it. Don't let me get involved in the way of you being excited. There's just certain ones that stand out to me more than others, and I'm going to tell you what I know about each adaptation as I talk about them. A couple of things are going to stand out to you pretty prominently from this list. One thing extraordinarily so, I'd say, and we'll get to that in a minute. But just to let you know, there are over 40 adaptations of fantasy or sci-fi material currently in talks. Most of them fantasy, because a lot of people want to be the next Game of Thrones kind of deal. And it's wow, just seeing how much people are trying to replace this. I don't know why. Once I broke 40 for some reason, there just became this little voice in my head of like, wow, and I still can't place exactly what that feeling is. So jumping on into this, sometimes multiple studios are involved with one adaptation, so I have that adaptation listed under both studios, so if you hear a repeat, that's what's happening there. But let's go ahead and jump on in. From BBC, we have a His Dark Materials adaptation, a Watership Down adaptation, Discworld, and Good Omens. From HBO, we have a Game of Thrones prequel, The Outsiders, which is a Stephen King adaptation. Excited for that one, the book was very good. A Watchmen adaptation, which, very cool. I'm curious to see if that'll somehow have anything to do with the fact that the Watchmen comics are now canonically involved with DC Comics. Maybe, maybe not, I doubt it, but it's an interesting speculation to say the least. From CBS, we have a Picard Star Trek series in the works with Patrick Stewart returning, as I previously covered, and we have a spin-off of Star Trek Discovery. CBS seems very desperate to take their one valuable IP and sell their entire streaming service off that. I don't think that's gonna work, but that's just my opinion. Moving on. From Amazon, we have the Lord of the Rings TV show with one of the highest budgets, or the highest budget in the history of television. We have a Wheel of Time adaptation. We have the Good Omens adaptation as well. They're working with BBC on that one, as well as a Dark Tower series. I'm actually very not excited for that. I love Dark Tower books now, but the last adaptation was handled so poorly. I don't know why, I'm just not super looking forward to that one. I'm very open for it to being phenomenal and me being proven wrong, but right now I'm skeptical on Dark Tower. Next up, from Fox, we have New Mutants, which has been delayed so many times that I'm honestly wondering what could possibly be going so wrong for them behind the scenes. I'm just not excited for this anymore. I honestly was originally. The trailers look great, but now if it's this problematic, I don't see why me as a viewer should be invested at all. We're also in very early talks for a Dresden Files adaptation being done by Fox as well. That I'm pretty excited for. If it's done well, it can be really hokey and great and just a lot of fun. So that would just be good braid candy right there. And now we're entering a special segment I'm calling Netflix Chill. Chill, Netflix. Seriously, Netflix chill. So I'm just gonna list all of these and give my quick opinions on the ones I really care about, because Netflix has more than every other studio I've previously talked about put together currently in the works, because wow, they must have a lot of money. First up, The Witcher. I'm super excited for this. I'll probably be doing episode by episode reviews of The Witcher, as well as Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones prequel, and whichever ones you guys also want me to do episode by episode reviews. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm tempted to do it for the Avatar show, depending if it's good or not. So let me know which other ones you want to see me do episode by episode reviews for. But moving on, Netflix, we have Witcher, Resident Evil, Kingdom, Cursed, The Umbrella Academy, Reborn, Cowboy Bebop, Diablo. Very excited for that, because if they capture the tone of the games, especially Diablo 2, this could be an absolute standout of the crowd and be something I'm super excited for. So Diablo, please be good. Moving on. We have Shadow and Bone, which I'm sorry, in my last time I talked about Shadow and Bone, I was kind of dismissive of it. Apparently it's a very popular YA series. I'm just not well versed in YA. I'm much more of a epic fantasy modern kind of guy, so I didn't mean to disrespect the series at all. It's just not something I previously heard of. To all the people who felt the need to let me know that in the comment section. Tall Grass, which is a Stephen King adaptation. They are also involved in the Watership Down adaptation that we talked about over at BBC, which is apparently already out, maybe? I'm not sure. Lock and Key, Dark Crystal, which apparently everyone was shocked. I had not previously been involved with Dark Crystal. I've watched some stuff now. It looks really charming, and I'm excited to see it done again. And of course, the Avatar: The Last Airbender adaptation that everyone knows about and a lot of people are very hesitant to get hopes up for, and a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reboot. Wow, there's a lot of stuff coming. And then NBC has one thing that's worth most mentioning, and that's a blacksmith adaptation. So good on you, NBC. You got your skin in the game. And then I have a Misc section here of just random things that I'm also kind of not, they're either so early on they could be canceled and not worth putting in with the rest, or I wasn't sure who's adapting them, or they're just like duh things we all know and talk about already. The Dark Universe has not officially been entirely canceled. I have a feeling they're just gonna kind of let that one die off, but maybe not. Maybe they will go through with it. I'm not sure. Apparently it made all the money in the world in China, their Mummy movie. We have the MCU, which will continue on until the sun explodes or entropy consumes us all. I'm not sure. The DCEU is continuing on. I hope they continue to improve. The Cosmere's in the works, and I got no idea beyond just it's being talked about, and some studios seem to be involved, but I don't want to speculate there. It could still really change up. King Killer looks like it'll get a movie and a TV show, which actually might explain a lot of why Patrick Rothfuss has been delaying things. He might be waiting for the TV show or movies to hype up his series to release the last book, in which case, come on, really? Moving on, we have a Hellboy movie that everyone seems very about. We have a Men in Black movie that everyone seems very about. An adaptation called The Passage. Artemis Fowl, and again, sorry I hadn't heard of that before I mentioned it. Deadly Class. The Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov seems is getting a 10-episode series. Very excited about that. A Dune adaptation is coming through the works, and while I previously have not been super excited or hot about Dune stuff, with Dave Bautista involved and just how epic and how much energy and money they're putting into this, seems like it could be something I'm very, very interested in. A Dune movie, I'm interested. You got me as excited as I could be for Dune. Don't let me down. A Black Company adaptation is very early on in talks and would be really cool to see. I'm actually pretty excited about that. I've tried reading it. It's not my writing style, so I didn't like it for that reason, but hopefully an adaptation would allow me to enjoy the series the way many other people do. And then Magician is also being adapted as well. Now, I think everyone can kind of see why it became a little draining to go through all of these. While there's certainly some that seem like all the time and effort that these series deserve is being put in, and the studios really care about what they're doing, Lord of the Rings being an example, I'm sure HBO is going to do the same for the Game of Thrones prequels, and I'm sure Netflix has a couple that they're treating like, you know, really high potential next big deals. But with so many coming down the road, a lot of them, especially some of the ones that just feel kind of like they haven't been talked about much and they're a lot closer to coming out than you would think, seems like people maybe got early on too invested and then they're like, oh, this is kind of junk, and they're just letting it go and die in the shadows somewhere. I have a feeling that's what New Mutants is gonna be. And then there's also a one dishonorable mention that falls into that category, which everyone involved seems to be regretting being involved, and it's gonna just kind of go die somewhere where they release it, and that's the live-action Teen Titans adaptation, which has been universally received as no. I don't think I've seen a fan base so upset by the look of an adaptation ever. Wow, people are not happy. It just seems poorly done, and like minimal effort was put in. So I'm hoping we see less of those and more Game of Thrones Westworld level stuff. Now also please take into account that I just mentioned every up-and-coming adaptation. There's also tons of currently ongoing fantasy and sci-fi adaptations that are going to continue on into this wave of additional adaptations. So we're probably gonna have quite a few between now and 2022. I think it's probably the latest. Some of the ones that I mentioned that actually make it to being fully aired start coming out. So boy, oh boy, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about and review. I guess my channel's never gonna run out of content. That's the one thing I'm gonna take away from this for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what shows you want to see me do episode by episode reviews of in the comments down below. And also let me know which shows or adaptations you want me to do a deep dive into all of the news we have up until this point. Do you want to know everything about the Witcher adaptation? Do you want to know everything about what's happening with Asimov's Foundation trilogy? Let me know. I will go ahead and do the research to do a fully explored video on just that show. And if any of them seem like they are fan favorites here, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.